incorrect statements there. Number one, just so you know, the New Testament doesn't say no divorce at all. The New Testament says, oh yeah, ask your expert now.
Okay, the New Testament now I'm just wondering, where did you get this from?
If you don't know, don't make a point.
Only
in adultery. Why do you make a point which you don't know and then wonder?
Continue.
So, what does the New Testament say? The New Testament says, a man is not allowed to divorce unless there is sexual immorality involved. So,
which is adultery.
Does the New Testament allow divorce? Yes, it does.
Only in adultery. Is that right?
We do not read your running commentary, Hashim. We don't need your
expert
is here.
No, we don't need. You're the expert in the Bible.
I am.
Okay. So be honest. Be honest and sincere.
So you don't need to comment every now and then.
No problem.
Now, by all means, you can. But when it's your turn,
be sincere.
So my point is this. So incorrectly quoted the Bible. Number one. Number two. Note the point carefully. You claim it's a contradiction between the Old Testament and the New Testament, and I'd like to tell you it's clearly not a contradiction. You have understood a meaning of contradiction incorrectly. This is the point. Now let him listen to my argument.
Yeah, okay.
When did I say stop listening? Can you stop being so uptight all the time, please? Relax. I know you're sweating.
Calm down.
Relax, man. Relax.
You need to calm down. You need to calm down, yeah?
Calm down, yeah. Please.
Say Alhamdulillah.
One thing at a time,
please.
Yeah, I'm listening.
The point is this simple, my dear friend.
Yeah.
God of the Old Testament does not want promiscuous sexual relationship. He does not want it. He doesn't allow it. That is the underlying point. And how does he enforce that in the Old Testament? Jeremiah, the verse that I read, exactly lays out that principle. The point is, if you are allowed to be married to one person and then go marry some other person and then come back to the same person, what that would lead to is basically a disrespect for the institution of marriage. Because you can go anywhere on. I'm just unhappy with him today. I'd like to sleep with him today. I'd go there and then come back to him. I won't lose him anyway. Okay. That's the idea.
Can we try?
You said 1.5 minutes. This has been 4 minutes already.
Can we try? Look, I'm not stopping you. I'm not stopping you. Can we use better terms, because we have sisters here around, and instead of sleeping, you could say having sexual intercourse, something like that. Try to use.
Don't worry about this. This is England. We are using reasonably sensible language.
Yeah, because the guy was shouting from behind.
England has morals too.
I don't know what others said. The language I used is very, very conservative. Don't worry about that. Yeah. So let's go back to my point.
So you're not listening to the advice.
God
okay,
of the Bible does not like promiscuous relationship. And that is what he says in the Old Testament. When Jeremiah says, how can you leave your husband and then come back to him? Would that land be greatly polluted? That's the point he expressed. And that is the same point Jesus expresses, except in an even more rigid way, which is you can't even go. Unless there is a sexual immorality, don't go. If you have differences of opinion, work it out. Now, consider this. Old Testament, New Testament, same principle.
Okay.
Same principle, and then comes along Quran.
No, it's not the same principle. It's not the same principle.
Now comes back. 1 second, please. Now comes the Quran. Quran goes against this principle by saying, if you want to marry him again, go to another man and then come back. That is what I call exact polar opposite and contradiction.
Okay,
in other words, please explain to me how Islamic Allah and the Yahweh of Torah could be the same God when obviously their commandments are polar opposites. And I've answered your question. The God of the Old Testament is the same as the God of the New Testament. Please go on.
Okay. Now, since my turn, yeah? Okay, that's good. At least I have the chance to speak.
You are the expert, apparently.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, the Islamic side. That's what I'm planning to say to you. Now, going back to the same point that you say. Again, I will answer. By the way, I'm not running away from the answer. For us, we never claim, Muslims, we never claim that Allah is Yahweh. We never claim this.
Good.
Yeah, we never claim this. For you to know. Yeah,
excellent.
We never claim this.
Absolutely.
And as well, yeah, of course.
Very good. Thank you.
I don't need to do a high five.
We are agreeing on that, so thank you. Yeah,
you don't need to comment as well.
We don't need
your comment. We don't need your comment. Yeah, we don't need your comment.
Practice what you preach.
Yeah. That's nothing. For us, Allah.
It's part of you guys.
Now, for us, Allah Azza wa Jal, Allah mentioned to us in the Quran. Allah mentioned to us in the Quran about His name, and He named Himself Tabaraka wa Ta'ala as Allah, and He named Himself as well revealed on the tongue of the Prophet ﷺ, on the Quran or on the tongue of the Prophet ﷺ, Allah has 99 names of the ones we are aware of nowadays. None of them is Yahweh. And for us, yeah, very good, very good. I'm just helping you, I'm aiding you. I'm aiding you. I'm aiding you. If that helps you, it doesn't matter for me. Because for me, I'm not someone who's hiding behind my thumb. Now going back. Now when I say to you that Allah, we never claim Allah is Yahweh. Because for us, for us, how we deal with the Bible, how we deal with the Old Testament, or with the New Testament, we deal with them as they are. There are hands being touched to them, meaning the hand of the people changed, and removed, and added, and taken. So these things for us, our Prophet ﷺ, he said, we don't believe it totally. The Quran, the Bible that you have, we don't believe everything that it has. We don't believe even the names that you use, except the ones which Allah has confirmed in the Quran. Those are the ones for us are the truth. Of Allah, for example, we believe in Dawood alayhi salam as a prophet because Allah has named him. His name is Dawood alayhi salam, and that's how we name him. So the same thing, Allah's names in the Quran, those are the ones. Now, if that helps you. Now going back to the point, again, you're saying in the Old Testament here we have a statement of Jesus as you claim, which he was named Yahweh and then he changed his name to be Jesus. So he was saying in the Old Testament, yeah, that you cannot divorce. Simple as that. You cannot divorce. He said in the Old Testament that you can't divorce. That is permissible. So he permits the people to divorce, but there is no going back. There is no going back. It's simple as
no remarrying.
There's no remarrying. Here, that's a statement. And another statement to say you cannot divorce except in one case, which is adultery. Now the question is, if a man, his wife is not adulterous, she's not adulterous, she didn't commit any sin, any mistake, yeah, but he keep torturing her, beating her, abusive person. He is so evil person with her. In Christianity, is there a way out? No. Is there a way out? He must be you, because maybe you do it. Maybe you do it. Because you're a criminal.
Serious matter.
A criminal like you. A criminal like you.
Let him go on.
Yeah, a criminal like you, a criminal like this. So here the question is, in Christianity, is there a way out? Islam allowed the divorce, simple as that. Yes. Now, and for you to know, I will add to your information as well. So there are things in Islam, that things which was mentioned in the, for example, which was done by the people of the book before Islam, and Islam accepted it and kept it as it is. Because, for example, fasting Ashura, tomorrow is Ashura. The Prophet ﷺ, when he came to Medina, that the Jews used to fast this day. And then the Prophet ﷺ and the Ashura the day, the Muslims, the Prophet ﷺ, he commanded the Sahaba, the companions, to fast the day. So it is, but directing it, the fasting in the way how the Muslims are fasting. That's one thing. That's for you to know. And sometimes as well, Islam as well abrogated certain commandments from the old scripture, abrogated it to be an Islamic ones. For example, eating the camel is prohibited in the Jews, amongst the Jews. It is prohibited in the Old Testament. Yeah? And it is mentioned clearly in the Old Testament that you cannot eat the ones with the camel's meat.
And circumcision.
Now, and as well, for example, let's know the circumcision. Okay. Yeah? The camel's meat. So Islam came and abrogated this ruling. Because every prophet, when he comes, he has had the Sharia, which is the ruling of the time that he has. So that's one of the things. One of them as well, the divorce. In the pre-Islamic time, it could be that the case, if someone divorces his wife, it is done. It is eternally. You cannot return the wife back again. But by the way, for you to know, to understand the logic, of the Quran or the wisdom of the Quran, how the Quran deals with the things. When there is a statement, if you read it clearly, how it says. Yeah, if you read it, what it says that, simple as that, Allah is not directing the people to divorce 3 times. It doesn't mean you have to divorce your wife 3 times, and then after that she has to remarry again, and then after that. It's not like that. The meaning of it, that here the prohibition that they cannot come back to their husbands. So that's a general statement. If she is divorced 3 times, you cannot come back to their husband. Simple as that. I'm finishing. So you cannot come back to your husband. Allah is saying this, you cannot come back to your husband at all. So here it is exactly following, you could say, following, you could say, for example, the teaching which was there. But Allah Azza wa Jal has made the way out, except in one case, exactly that you said. You said, for example, in the New Testament, there is only one case that the person will divorce his wife, is the case when she is adulterous. It doesn't mean, do you know what it means? It doesn't mean adultery is allowed. It doesn't mean this. It doesn't mean, oh, I wanted to divorce my husband, or let me commit adultery. Yeah, it doesn't mean this. Do you understand the point? It doesn't mean in the Bible, for example, even though with all my respect to yourself, yeah? Now, when you read the Bible doesn't tell the people to commit adultery, yes? Yeah?
So are you done?
No, I'm just finishing the point. Try to focus what I'm saying. The Bible doesn't tell the people to commit adultery, yes? And that's why here, but for the divorce case, here you have only one way to divorce is if I commit sexual intercourse or adultery. Now the question is exactly the same thing. Is this what he's talking about, the halal? The Bible telling me the only way out of this divorce is adultery? Is this what you are claiming? So that's what it means. That's what it means, the direct meaning. So here in Islam, in Islam, it doesn't say that. It's the same thing as adultery is prohibited in Christianity, for example. The halala is prohibited in Islam. How? Because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, لعن الله المحلل والمحلل له.
Curse is the one
May Allah curse the one who's doing the halala. May Allah curse the one who's doing the halala and the one who's halala being done too. So the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he cursed those ones who are involved in halala. So here, what it means, meaning if a woman, she does 3 times, that means that's not going to work. So she married another husband. And then she waited for him until Allah God knows. So after all this time, he dies. He may be and then they divorce.
I'm
just giving you the answer. So the audience,
this is the main point.
If you are not getting my point, as is the same as the Bible doesn't indicate the people to commit adultery, is exactly Islam doesn't indicate to the women to do halal. Is that clear? Is that clear to you?
Clear like the crystal. Can I please respond now?
Yeah.
I hope it's
Thank
clear.
you. Thank you.
Are you being sarcastic?
Thank you.
Or you actually understood it?
Thank you.
What do you? Can you
I see a big question mark on your face.
Wow.
Can you please?
Can I
I see a big question mark on your face.
Can I ask you a question?
No, you asked many questions.
No. I wanted you, if you answered me, can you please repeat what you answered?
Yeah.
So repeat what you understood. So at least we are on the same platform.
I think he's got a question mark on his face.
If you could repeat what you understood from me, or I could explain it again.
You would see
You want the middle?
in my response you would see how I have understood yours. So don't worry about that. Yeah. So let me respond to all you have raised many points there. Let me begin. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for agreeing that Yahweh of the Bible is not the same. One second. Thank you for agreeing.
You know that guy been filming for 2 years that has a link to ISIS and everything?
Yeah.
And Charles.
So, no, that is very true, Raj. I'm with you on that. That's a very true point. That's a serious concern we need to deal with now.
He has time for Raj.
Coming
But
to
when I say
Coming
about
to
the
you.
topic, it isn't enough time. That's the double standards we have to deal with, unfortunately.
coming to you,
No one
my
is-
dear friend, coming to you. I really appreciate you agreeing on camera that Yahweh of the Bible is not the same as Allah of the
Yeah, we'll never
Quran.
claim,
If
yeah.
you can take just one more step and go around, talk to your Dawah teams to remove all material which says Muhammad, Moses, Jesus, Abraham,
Those are
Moses,
good, yeah.
Jesus, Muhammad, as if they're all talking about the same God. If you go take
They are
that
talking
material
about
out
one
of
God.
circulation, there'll be a material benefit to all of us. We agree on that. You are apparently an expert here.
That
you
means you
agree.
didn't. That means you didn't understand what I
Exactly.
said.
Wait, one second.
That means you didn't
I think
understand what I
they're
said.
on the
Let you speak.
I said
I'm speaking now.
we don't need.
I don't need comprehension.
I said about the next.
My dear friend, I let you speak.
No, but you're lying about me now. I didn't say
Yes,
that.
I'm
exactly.
not lying. This is a recommendation.
No, I
I don't need recommendation.
Let me
for
finish.
people who don't understand.
Let me finish, and then you can tell me
Okay.
that I'm a liar and all this.
By the way, he answered your main question. Did you understand that or not?
Ashim, thank you very much. If you have any doubt, you can ask him later. I have
I'm
understood.
asking you
I'm
because
okay
have you
with this.
understood it?
I can move
I
on.
think
Thank
you
you.
didn't
Let's see if you
understand.
understood it.
Please, thank you. Now, going back. So thank you very much. Please go and speak.
He'll keep repeating himself now.
Please speak to
He likes
the
that.
Take this
He likes that.
material away. Now,
Maybe it's because he forgets. He likes repeating it.
point number 2. which is, I can also tell you, by the way, I'm quite glad that you agreed.
See, I repeat
the
again.
law still is contrary to each other. Torah is polar opposite of Sharia, regardless
And
of
the
the
New
reason you
Testament.
give. Regardless of the
And the New
reason you
Testament.
give, it is still polar opposite, regardless of the reason. I don't care what
No
the
baby
reason
killings,
is.
you're right, in
If
the Quran.
Yahweh
Absolutely.
of the Bible
Polar
does
opposites.
not like it, he can't suddenly change his mind and say, I quite like, this is the way I like things to be. So,
Okay, good.
point number
That
two.
helps me actually. Okay.
Contradictory to all those who are listening, Allah of the Quran is polar.
Yes.
Islamic Allah of the Quran is polar.
He never come out to kill babies. You're
of
absolutely
Yahweh,
right.
To
Unlike the
Yahweh,
Bible.
to Yahweh of the Bible. Now, there is only one suggestion. There is.
The old man
there
disagrees
is-
with you.
That's why I said Islamic Allah.
Islamic Allah?
The point is this.
It's just one God, it's one monotheistic God. That's
No, no, no. He agreed.
As a
There are two
Christian, if you believe in Allah.
No, no,
Yeah,
don't
it
use
is.
this
I didn't say
He
that.
agreed. There are two
I said,
different gods.
let me repeat what I said.
Can you stick to the topic?
Now, let's
hold on.
I could.
Because we're
I could.
monotheistic.
Let me repeat what I
Ma,
said.
ma, ma, no, you
Let
don't,
me
you don't
repeat.
need to
No,
finish.
no, no.
You can
No,
respond
no, no,
to
no,
me
no. You can't lie. No,
after I
no. You
finish.
cannot listen.
You
Did
can
I lie
respond
about
to
you?
me
Did I lie about
after
you?
I finish.
Did I lie about you? I didn't lie. You lied about me.
Stick to the topic, I don't
You
know.
lied about me.
Heard what
You
had
lied
to
about
say.
me.
No, I don't think you heard or understood.
You lied about me.
Once I finish,
You lied about me now.
Once I
You are
finish,
lying about me.
you can say I am
You are-
a
no, no, no.
in your turn.
No, no, no. You
Once
cannot.
I
No, no, no.
finish,
If you lie about me, I cannot take it.
Once
Listen,
I
you
finish.
could listen.
My dear
speak
friend.
about your understanding.
Once I
Listen,
finish, that's
speak
what I'm
about your
saying.
understanding.
That's what I'm saying.
Okay, speak your understanding.
My dear
Hold on,
friend.
speak your understanding. Speak what you wanted to say, but you cannot lie about me. Do you understand? I said we never claimed as Muslims.
now you're taking
Allah, no, no, no.
Excuse me.
Allah is
Excuse
recorded.
me.
We never claimed as Muslim. Allah is equal Yahweh.
My dear friend,
We never
you
claimed.
speak when you
We
when it's
never
your turn.
claimed. We don't agree on the term, even we don't
You
agree.
speak when it's your turn.
Yeah.
I speak when
Don't
it's
lie
my
about
turn.
me then. But don't speak what I said.
If you think I'm lying, you can say
No,
that
no, no,
in
no.
your turn.
Harold, can you stick to
Listen.
the topic, please?
Harold.
When you-
His name is Harold.
When you-
listen.
when you
No,
think
no, no, no.
it's a lie,
No, listen,
you
listen.
can't-
We have to agree in terms, yeah? I cannot lie about you while you are here. You don't lie about me what I said here.
That's good.
So
If
what
you
I
think-
wanted you, just say I understood this, and then I will clarify.
Whether I'm lying or not, everyone could evaluate. They can
Fine,
use
fine.
their
I have no
intellect and
problem.
decide.
I have no problem.
You're calling-
Don't lie. Yeah,
Good.
okay. Now
Excuse me,
continue.
Okay, let him
excuse me.
finish.
You're not God. You take your
Can you
turn.
s-
When you speak, let others decide if I'm lying or not.
we stick to the topic, please?
I'm very glad for you to confess.
No,
on
I didn't
record-
say again.
Here he
On
goes again.
record, on
I didn't
record
say- I didn't say that.
Islamic
Okay.
Allah is contrary, polar opposite to Yahweh of the Bible. Now,
No,
I can-
no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
You know,
I didn't
he
say
just
that.
said Yahweh.
by all means,
I did not say
you
this.
can respond to me.
I did not say this.
Later.
That's a lie.
Once I finish.
Does the Bible command you to lie?
Once I
Does the
finish,
Bible
you
command you to
can
lie?
respond to me.
Does the Bible command you to lie?
Excuse me.
So,
That's what we believe.
okay.
Deal with it when
Once
it's
I
Let me
finish,
repeat what I
my
said.
dear friend.
Let me correct
Once I
it. Let me
finish.
repeat what I said. No. He lied. Do you lie? Does the Bible command you to lie? Does the Bible command you to lie? Does the Bible command you to
Dear
lie?
friend, it's a simple thing, yeah?
because
You think I'm lying.
Yeah, you are lying.
You think I'm lying.
You're lying.
So we
You're
can
lying.
do a simple thing.
No.
We
I
can do a simple thing.
can't lie. Islam prohibit me to
We
lie.
can do a simple thing. Once I finish, I
Don't talk about my wording, yeah? They say this, I understood this. He said, I believe you said this.
Let others judge that.
No,
Let not the prosecutor be the judge also. That would be silly.
you can't lie. I can't.
Which you have just enshrined in quote unquote a religion. And I would recommend by all means. But give me just
What happened to the divorce topic?
And therefore, I
He
come
is
back to
jumping, he's
this.
jumping.
Completely
I could come back
Because
to
you know
that.
you were
Listen,
I come back to that.
Listen.
So the point is, the question to you, I'd answer my divorce thing in my next round because I've taken a lot of time already.
We have rounds.
But I'm
The
going to
whole
answer.
purpose of this talk was
I'm going to answer that.
Now-
I'm going to answer that. Now, because I want to give you time now, my point is simple. Based on what we have discussed so far, would you not think it is a good idea for you to leave Islam, give up on your Arabian irreligiousness and wickedness, and come follow Yahweh of the Bible?
No human
Do you not think
sacrifice. Why
that's a
should
good
we follow
idea?
that?
That's your question.
Okay.
Human
Arabian, where did the
sacrifice.
Bible come from?
Now for you to know.
But they didn't say Islamic, it said Arabian. Remember
Listen.
that? Arabian pagans were there. You know that.
Listen. for us to know, for you and for us to know, and for you as well to know. In Islam, yeah, when Islam came to who? To pagan, to evil, filthy people. Yeah, they used to do all evil things.
Immorality.
Many immorality. This is nothing compared what the pre-Islamic Arabs used to do.
Killing the
It's
babies.
nothing. They used to kill their own daughters alive, and I'm adding to your information.
Bury them alive.
They used to bury their own daughters alive. Yeah. They used to not just that. They used to as well not just only marrying. They used to commit all kind of adultery. They used to commit all of these. Yeah, well, leave him. He's like a barking dog. Just leave
Turn your
him.
back to him, that's the best thing.
So all of these things was in the pre-Islamic time, and that's why when Islam came, Allah has shifted those people from all this filthiness to Islam, to purification of Islam. Now the question is, you said, marrying 4 wives. You brought the marrying 4 wives. Okay, here about marrying 4 wives. How many Sulaiman did he marry?
600.
600.
Evil,
700.
Nasty.
very bad.
So was he following?
God establishes covenant with the
Okay.
last man.
No.
Yeah.
He establishes covenant.
So now here, Jacob, how many did he marry? Jacob, how many wives did he marry?
So is this my turn
I'm
now?
asking-